Today's first podcast topic, I'd like to talk about the topic of daydreaming. Daydreaming has been stigmatized as something that's useless, something that's counterproductive, something that, over the years we were always told, don't daydream, pay attention, focus. Well, when I say stigmatize, I mean it's been given a bad reputation. Daydreaming has been given bad publicity for many decades. But the interesting thing is there's new research, according to a neuroscientist named Mark Waldman, who discovered that daydreaming can actually be very good for you. It can actually sharpen your focus. It can actually improve your creativity, and it can just regain your focus on whatever it is you're doing. And daydreaming. How can we define daydreaming? What exactly is daydreaming? Well, as I sit here and look out the window, I can look out the window right now, and I can see what's out there, but then I might be thinking about something that's completely unrelated to what I'm looking at. Something that happened in the past. Maybe there's something I saw that reminded me of something that happened in the past or something else. And it may not be connected in any way to what I'm doing right here, right now in the present moment. And so daydreaming is when you're fully awake, physically awake, and you just start thinking about other things. Sometimes you might be thinking about that date you went on, or that time you had with your friends, or that really fun time you had. Something else. So, daydreaming, that's how you can define it. In simplest terms, you're thinking about something that happened or something else that's not related to what you're doing right now. It could be, but many times it isn't. But that's a good thing. And there's a reason it's a good thing. Because according to this new emerging field of research, neuroscience, I believe we'll just call it neuroscience, it's kind of like daydreaming is kind of like resetting your focus, resetting your brain, recharging. Kind of like when we yawn. Yawning is actually the same thing. So I think back on all those years ago, like when I was growing up. I remember I'd receive on my report cards, this is back when I was like 6 years old in the first grade, second grade, I'd receive these notes on my report card for my parents to read saying, Stephen needs to focus more in class. Stephen is daydreaming. And it's funny because I do remember actually during class looking out the window. Sometimes it was because I remember different reasons I would look out the window. Sometimes I'd look out the window because I was trying to think about something. Sometimes when I look out the window, I'm trying to figure things out in my mind. My mind would wander too. There were moments in class where my mind would wander, and for some reason the teacher would notice that it was me who was looking out the window among all the other students. Why me? Well, perhaps I was the only one that was doing it, or who knows what the reason was. And that's another way you could describe daydreaming is letting your mind wander. 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 What does wander mean? Wander means to travel, to move around. It could be without any intention, without any goal. It's kind of like if you were going outside and started wandering around. You have no specific place you want to go. You just walk around. Maybe just to get exercise. Maybe you just want to walk through the forest or walk through the streets, walk through the neighborhood, just to stretch, just to feel the air, wander. I think there's even another expression, wonder, like, I wonder why. I wonder why I like to wander around outside. Well, I know the answer. It's because you just want to take a break, move around, moving around physically. And then there's moving around in a different way. Wander. My thoughts are wandering, wandering thoughts. That's where I go from image to image. I'm thinking about what I did at the supermarket, at the department store. Then my thought suddenly changes to what I eat for dinner. And then it jumps back to what I did earlier that morning. Then it jumps to, oh, there's that thing I still have to do, that chore I still have to do. Oh, I forgot to clean. I forgot to clean out the apartment. Oh, I forgot to do the dishes over there. Oh, I didn't start that project that I promised I'd start. I didn't start that drawing that I said I was going to start, or that painting. I forgot to download that MP3 or that MP4. I forgot to make that video. Your mind just wanders from thought to thought. That's also a form of daydreaming. So I wonder, for you listeners out there, I wonder if you've had that same kind of experience where you were accused of or told you were daydreaming or wandering. Now let's imagine this. What does a person look like? A person who's daydreaming. How would you describe that person? Think of that person visually. What does he or she look like? Is that person sitting down or standing? Does that person have his or her eyes open or closed? Think about it for a second. What comes to my mind, what I imagine, is a person who's sitting down, looking upward, as if there's something above this person floating around. But as you can see, there's nothing physically there floating around above that person. It's just, the person's just looking up. Does this person have a happy face, a sad face, angry? What kind of a feeling does this person have that's daydreaming? Well, what I always come to is this person has a slight smile on his face or her face. Not a full smile, not with a teethy grin, not showing teeth, but just kind of almost like a relieved kind of grin, like in a state of joy of some sort. The reason I say this is because I think daydreaming can be enjoyable. That's why we do it, because it's not difficult to do. It's just something that happens naturally. And so the fact is, yes, daydreaming has had a bad reputation. The fact is, yes, many of us have been told not to daydream. And yes, we've been led to believe that daydreaming is not useful, not productive. It's counterproductive. Some may even think, oh, that's being lazy. Stop daydreaming. Get up. Do something. Be productive. But I believe that daydreaming is productive. Actually, based on the research I believe that daydreaming is actually productive and actually can help us regain our focus. How much should we daydream? Well, according to Mark Waldman, according to him, daydreaming should be a few minutes, like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something like that, once every hour or once every half hour. You decide how much you think you'd want to daydream. And funny enough, on that note, I don't know how much I daydream. I never really thought about how much I daydream. It just never occurred to me. Because I've been so used to not intentionally daydreaming that I never think about it. And I'm sure I do daydream in certain moments where I'm not aware of, like, well, I'm running outside, going for a jog down the road through the forest. Suddenly these random thoughts about something will pop up, like some song I heard, or somebody I talked to, or something I saw, or some movie, or it could be anything, really. So I probably do daydream a lot more than I realize, but intentionally trying to daydream, never really tried it. But that's what I recommend. And these are my thoughts for today. I thought this would be a great way to start off this podcast because, in a way, when I'm making these kind of podcasts, these kind of audios, it's kind of like I'm daydreaming right now as I say this, as I'm saying this, as I'm saying what it is I'm saying right now. This isn't a script. These are just my thoughts that I'm just sharing. I'm thinking out loud. So for you listeners who enjoy listening, and I mean, just to be clear, this podcast is geared towards those who want to practice their English listening. That's the main purpose of this podcast. So with that being said, I hope those of you who are listening to improve your English listening, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll go ahead and leave this here. So you have a great day, and I'm sure as time goes on, you're going to hear more from me. So take care and have a great weekend. The weekend's coming, so have a good one.